Welcome, Josh Lancaster here, British Strongman Coaching. In this video, I'm going to show you some sample, simple 4-week training blocks that have worked for our complete beginners to international champions. With these training blocks, the aim is to give you a great idea and direction what you're doing for your main exercise. But then if you're feeling like you're wondering what you should do for your assistance exercise and how to work on your weaknesses, then obviously I would recommend working with a coach and working with somebody who will be able to help you and select the stuff that's specific to you. Head to the link in description to download your copy. Sample training block, Log Press program, Log 1RM. We're going to assume that over the next 4 weeks that you want to hit some singles, whether it be a competition at week 4 or whether this be you're designed to go for a heavy single in training. So 4 weeks out, week 1, we'll start with every minute on the minute. We'll do 12 to 15 singles, depending on how they feel, in the 70 to 80% range. I'd recommend starting off at the lower end of this. And if you feel like your technique's good, which it should be, and the bar's moving really, really well, you're managing to press in a straight line, you manage to go ever so slightly back, video from the side to check this, and then work through the range if you're feeling good and the recovery's feeling good. But make sure that you feel like you can progress onto week 2 without feeling like it's too big of a jump. Then when we go to week 2, increase the load a little bit, start off a little bit heavier than the previous week, so around 75% should be able to do. Extend the rest a little bit so you're not limited by fatigue. And then if you're perfecting that bar path that you did from last week, check in from the side, add a little bit more intent on the press, and then work through the range. And if you get towards 85%, then you're doing really well, and you can see if you can get towards the 12 reps at that. If you need to rest a little bit longer, obviously rest a little bit longer and get the quality reps in. This isn't a fitness protocol. This is just holding you accountable to not resting too long and falling out of the zone. And then week 3, this should set us up nicely to go to increase the load again, somewhere between in the 80 to 90% range. Again, start off a little bit lighter and then work through. If you're managing to get fast, confident transitions from clean to the press, the bar path's really good. Make sure you're in a really powerful position to start the drive on every rep, and that bar pass feeling good. And if you're feeling good, work up towards the 90% range. I would recommend on this for the whole phase in trying to get a set up where you can eliminate the eccentric. We're not trying to build eccentric strength doing this. We're building concentric skill and strength and confidence and repeatability. So we want to get that rep overhead stabilized, and then we want to finish the rep there. So ideally drop it from there. And then week 4, so assuming that you want to hit a single here, then you can build up, use the 60 to 70% singles to build up and get everything firing and make sure that transition's great and the bar path's really good on the dip and drive. So if you're doing this and it's a deload and you've got a competition, say on the Saturday or the Sunday, for instance, or the weekend, and you wanting to do a session that's going to get you firing without interfering with the competition fatigue, try this at the start of the week, go at the low end of the range, say 60%, just get some singles in, and then you've got plenty of rest and you can be ready for the competition at the weekend, but still firing in terms of you've practiced that week. And if you're not doing a competition, just build up to a top single and see how you feel. So if you've focused on the cues that have given in the previous 3 weeks and you've been patient with the build up, then you should feel good to hit a good single. Log press training block. The goal in this block is to build versatility for log for reps. Week 1, to start off at 2 sets of 10, floor to overhead, really light efficiency focus. You may be surprised at, say, even 40% or 50%, like 50% and below of your max feels really tough here. So focus more on getting the reps in, pacing it over, getting used to working for a minute rather than focusing on a heavy load. And then go a little bit heavier for a set of 8, and then a little bit heavier for a set of 5, a little bit heavier from a set of 3. Start off with a hard setup here. So if you can get your pads or your blocks below your knee to prepare for like an awkward setup that could come up at competition. And then focus on keeping the hold of the log handles all the way through, so no drop in, so keeping control all the way through the eccentric and the concentric. Then the second week, go up to 2 sets of 8, aiming to be a little bit heavier than the 8 from the previous week. And then once you've done that, drop the weight down a little bit and do a set of 10. And then you can increase the weight a little bit if you want and go for a set of 5 and a set of 3. Ideally, a little bit heavier than the previous week. It should feel a little bit more efficient. You'll be getting used to your breathing and getting into a rhythm. Focus on the higher rep sets. Try and focus on keeping your breath held in the rack and getting a fast transition from landing the clean to transition into the press. You can go with the pads or the blocks a little bit higher than last week. I think the key is with the log, unless you know your specific setups at your competition and you know that already, then actually just varying your setup and varying stuff week by week can be really, really beneficial. So in terms of the surface underfoot, in terms of how high you pick up, whether you're doing from pads onto blocks. So just not getting too accustomed to one setup is key. And then the third week, we should be able to go to 3 sets of 5, a little bit heavier. And if you're feeling good, aim towards 80% or more for the top set. And then it's up to you if you stick to the same weight or go a little bit heavier for a triple. And then I would suggest dropping the weight down for a set of 8 and a set of 10. And see if you can get the 8s and the 10s a little bit heavier than the previous 8s to the 10s, but it's not essential. This week, focus on the pads and the blocks from your favorite height, or if you know what it is at competition, then replicate that. And then the goal is to spread because we want to make this competition specific, spread the top set of 5 over 60 seconds. So if you might find it helpful to get a time or a clock in front or a mate. So if you split this up to 1 rep every 12 seconds, it suddenly does become easier than going all out for 5 reps in 40 seconds, for instance, because you'll be able to maintain a constant pace that's efficient. And then the final week, so you can skip this and go to your competition. And if you just want to use something at the start of the week that's going to drill those positions, just use the reps, but drop the weight right down and just use it to drill the timing. But if you're not doing a competition and you want to progress, keep progressing as a linear progression from week 1, so you build up in triples to a top triple. If you're feeling good, there's no reason why you can't aim towards the, say, 85% plus, towards 90, 91%. Log Press program, 4-week technical block. In this sample block, we're going to focus on drive mechanics. I recommend starting at 50% or even lighter. Start at sets of 6 that you can hit with a 5-second pause overhead on the final rep of each set, where you're looking to find the weightless position with your joints stacked. So video from the side, and make sure the center of the pins are going all the way through the stacked over your joints all the way down to midfoot. And then as a non-negotiable, you're looking from a straight line from the bottom of the dip or at the start of the drive. You're looking from a straight line from there to this weightless overhead position. So at first you might find that the path is a little bit out in front, or the overhead position isn't open yet, and the overhead position's like a little bit in front, maybe over your forehead instead of over the crown of your head. So use this protocol to develop that specific flexibility and open up these positions, and then ultimately build strength and stability in those positions. Looking for a straight line from the bottom of the dip and then slightly backwards in this perfectly straight line. So you're only allowed to add weight, and I only recommend adding weight in each session and over the course of the weeks if you're nailing these cues 1 and 2. So straight line from the bottom of the drive, slightly backward press. So if this means that starting lighter than 50%, then do that. And most of you will notice that your technique will get better over the course of the sets. If you feel like you're nailing this straight away and you want to add weight and you want to work towards 60-65% in session 1, as long as you're nailing the pause on the final rep and you're nailing points 1 and 2, then that's great. Week 2, you're looking to progress the weight a little bit, so starting a little bit heavier this week while still nailing cues 1 and 2 and the 5-second pause overhead. Start at the low end of the range and only work towards 70% if you're nailing these cues and nailing the technique. And then week 3, looking to add the load again and dropping a rep per set. Again, start at the low end of the range, nail cues 1 and 2. And if you feel like you're nailing these cues consistently, aim to move each rep a little bit faster than last week. So looking to apply more leg drive and looking to apply more intent once you're confident that you're nailing these positions. And then week 3, 10 triples. Again, starting at the low end of the range, make sure you're executing 1 and 2 and nailing the pause on the last rep of each set. And then if you're feeling brilliant, aim to finish on an awesome feeling 80% for 3.